Hello everyone and welcome to EverlastCyber. In today's video we'll be going through some practice questions and answers for the Splunk Core Certified User Certification exam. Question 1. Which of the following Splunk components is responsible for data collection? A. Forwarder. B. Indexer. C. Search head. D. Deployment server. The forwarder is the Splunk component that is responsible for collecting data from various sources like files, network inputs, and logs, and then it forwards it to the indexer for processing and storage. Now, there are two types of forwarders. There's the universal forwarder, which is lightweight and used for forwarding data, and then there's a heavy forwarder for performing data parsing and filtering before it sends it to the indexer. The indexer in option B is responsible for receiving, indexing, and storing the data sent by the forwarders, and then it also organizes the data into searchable events and enables fast query performance. The search head allows users to perform searches, analyze indexed data, and creates dashboards or reports. However, it is not involved in the initial data collection. The deployment server is used to centrally manage and distribute configurations to Splunk components like the forwarders, but it does not collect data on its own. So our answer here is option A. The forwarder is responsible for data collection. Question 2. By default, how long does Splunk retain a search job? A. 10 minutes. B. 15 minutes. C. 1 day. D. 7 days. Splunk does not retain search jobs for 10 minutes by default. The default retention time is definitely longer than this. By default, Splunk retains search jobs for 15 minutes. So once a search is completed, its results remain available for about 15 minutes unless it is explicitly saved, extended, or changed in the Splunk configuration settings. This time frame helps to reduce unnecessary storage consumption for transient data. In option C, retaining search jobs for a full day is not the default setting. However, this retention period can be configured manually if it is needed. And in option D, a retention period of 7 days is too long for default search jobs. Retaining search results for this duration can lead to excessive use of storage resources unless the search job has been saved or extended explicitly. So by default, Splunk retains search jobs for 15 minutes. Question 3. When running searches, command modifiers in the search string are displayed in what color? A. Red. B. Blue. C. Orange. D. Highlighted. Red is not used to display command modifiers in Splunk. It is used to indicate syntax errors or warnings in a search string. Command modifiers in Splunk, like the stats, eval, where, search, these strings are displayed in blue. This color coding helps users to easily identify the search commands and to understand the structure of their queries. In option C, orange is not used to highlight command modifiers. However, it may sometimes be used to denote specific string literals or other elements depending on the search context. In option D, while the Splunk interface uses colors to distinguish different elements of a search query, highlighted is not a color. Rather, it is a general term. So with reference to the question we've been asked, our answer is option C. In Splunk, command modifiers within the search string, like the limit, sort, or rename, are displayed in orange in the search bar. This orange color coding helps users to easily identify the command modifiers and to differentiate them from other parts of the search syntax. Question 4. What is the purpose of using a by clause with the stats command? A. To group the results by one or more fields. B. To compute numerical statistics on each field. C. To specify how the values in a list are delimited. D. To partition the input data based on the split by fields. In option A, the by clause in the stats command is used to group results based on one or more fields. So when you specify a by clause, the statistics generated by the stats command are calculated for each group of events that shares the same values in the specified field. In option B, the stats command computes numerical statistics like count, sum, and average on the fields in your data set, but this is not what the by clause does. The by clause is specifically for grouping results and not for performing calculations. For option C, specifying how the values in a list are delimited is not the purpose of the by clause. Splunk does not use the by clause to define delimiters for lists. Listing, formatting, and delimiters are managed using other functions like the MV join. In option D, while the by clause does group the data based on specific fields, partitioning input data is not the correct description in the context of how the stats command operates. Partitioning is more aligned with concepts like buckets or indexing, but not the stats command. So this makes our answer option A. The by clause is essential when you want to calculate statistics for grouped subsets of data, thereby making it a powerful tool for summarizing results across different dimensions or categories in your Splunk data. Question 5. Which of the following best describes Splunk? A. A database management system. B. A log aggregation and analysis tool. C. A cloud computing platform. D. A network monitoring tool. Splunk is not a database management system like Oracle or MySQL. Now, while Splunk stores and indexes data, it is not designed for traditional database operations like the relational data storage or SQL queries. Splunk uses its own search processing language for querying indexed data. In option B, Splunk is primarily designed as a log aggregation, monitoring, and analysis tool. So it collects machine-generated data like logs, metrics, and events. It collects this data from various sources, indexes them, and allows users to search, visualize, and analyze the data for insight into system performance, security, and troubleshooting. Looking at option C, Splunk offers cloud-based services like the Splunk Cloud, but its primary function is not as a general-purpose cloud computing platform like Azure or Google Cloud. Splunk focuses on data analytics and observability. In option D, although Splunk can be used to monitor network activity by analyzing logs from firewalls, switches, and routers, it is not exclusively a network monitoring tool like SolarWinds and Wireshark. So Splunk is broader in scope, providing capabilities beyond just network monitoring. So out of the options we have, the one that best describes Splunk is option B. It is a log aggregation and analysis tool. Question 6. In the field sidebar, which character denotes alphanumeric field values? A. Hashtag. B. The percentage sign. C. A. D. A hash. In option A, in the Splunk's field sidebar, the hashtag character denotes alphanumeric field values. Alphanumeric fields can include both letters and numbers. So for instance, it could have something like ABC123 or field 1. This notation helps identify fields that contains mixed character data types. In option B, the percentage symbol is not used to denote alphanumeric field values in Splunk. However, it is used in other contexts such as when working with specific operators or symbols in searches. In option C, the single character A does not denote alphanumeric field values in the Splunk field sidebar. Splunk uses specific symbols like the hashtag to represent different types of field values. And in option D, while this combination contains elements of alphanumeric notation, it is not a valid representation in Splunk's field sidebar. So out of this, our answer is option A. The hashtag is used to represent fields that contains a combination of letters and numbers, and Splunk categorizes these field values into types. So the alphanumeric field value is recognized by the hashtag symbol. Question 7. What syntax is used to link key value pairs in search strings? A. Action plus purchase. B. Action equals purchase. C. Action pipe purchase. D. Action equal purchase. In option A, the plus symbol is not used to link key value pairs in Splunk search strings. This syntax is invalid for Splunk SPL. In option B, key value pairs are written in the format key equal value. For instance, action equal purchase means you're searching for events where the action field has the value purchase. This format is used to filter search results based on specific field values. The pipe symbol in Splunk is used to pipe the output of one command as the input to another, but it is not used for linking key value pairs. This syntax will be incorrect for specifying a field value pair. In option D, Splunk does not use plain text like equal to link key value pairs. Instead, it uses the equal sign operator for such purposes. So our answer here is option B. The action equal purchase is the syntax that is used to link key value pairs in search strings. Question 8. What does the Splunk index represent? A. A directory containing raw data and metadata. B. A collection of saved searches. C. A visualization tool for dashboards. D. A method for exporting data. In Splunk, an index represents a data repository where Splunk stores ingested data. So each index contains raw data, which is the actual events data collected from sources, and also metadata like the timestamps, source information, and host details. Indexes are used to organize and retrieve data efficiently for searches and analysis, and this structure allows Splunk to process and analyze vast amounts of machine data quickly. In option B, saved searches are stored as part of user configuration or Splunk apps, but they are not considered as indexes. Saved searches are queries that users can execute repeatedly, but they do not represent raw data storage. In option C, dashboards in Splunk provides visualization for data, so we have charts, graphs, and tables, but they are not related to indexes. Dashboards retrieve data by running searches against indexes. And in option D, Splunk provides export functionality, but exporting data is not related to the concept of an index. An index is where Splunk ingests and organizes data for analysis. So out of the option, the one that represents an index will be option A. An index is a directory containing raw data and metadata. Question 9. An index is a storage location in Splunk where raw data and associated metadata are stored for searching and analysis. How can you speed up search performance in Splunk? A. By using only the stats command. B. By specifying a smaller time range. C. By increasing the number of indexed fields. D. By using more eval expressions. In option A, while the stats command can optimize searches by aggregating and summarizing data, simply using it does not necessarily speed up all search performance. The choice of commands depends on the specific use case, so efficient searches requires narrowing down the data set and not just relying on a single command. In option B, when you narrow the time range for a search, Splunk processes fewer events, and this significantly improves search performance. So instead of searching across all indexed data, limiting the time frame focuses the search on a smaller data set, thereby reducing the workload on Splunk's search engine. For option C, indexing more fields can actually slow down data ingestion and search performance because Splunk has to maintain additional metadata for the extra fields. It is better to index only the fields that are essential for searches in order to balance performance and storage efficiency. In option D, the eval command allows you to create calculated fields on the fly during searches. However, using more eval expressions increases search complexity and it can degrade performance, especially if it is applied to a large data set. So in order to speed up search performance in Splunk, option B would be the best choice by specifying a smaller time range. Question 10. When writing searches in Splunk, which of the following is true about Booleans? A. They must be lowercase. B. They must be uppercase. C. They must be in quotations. D. They must be in parentheses. Booleans in Splunk, such as the and, or, and not, must be written in uppercase and not lowercase. Writing them in lowercase would cause Splunk to interpret them incorrectly or even fail to execute the search. So our option B would be the correct answer. In Splunk, Boolean operators like the and, or, and not must be written in uppercase in order to function properly. In option C, Booleans do not require quotations. Quotations are used for enclosing values like strings or field names, but not for Boolean operators. For instance, you would use quotes for string values like error, but not for and. In option D, parentheses are used to group parts of search queries, but it is not used for Booleans. While parentheses are important for controlling the order of operations, they are not required for the Boolean operators themselves. So our answer here is option B. For Booleans to work, they must be in uppercase. Question 11. Which field is always included in Splunk events by default? A. Source. B. Host. C. Source type. D. All of the above. For this, we'll be going with option D. The source field in Splunk is included by default because it represents the location or origin of the data, such as a log file or data stream from which the event is generated. The host field is also included by default in every Splunk event. It identifies the system or device from where the data was collected, which helps to track the source of the event. Also, the source type field is automatically assigned in Splunk to specify the format of the event data. This allows Splunk to apply the correct parsing rules to interpret the event data properly. So our answer is option D, all of the above. By default, Splunk includes the source, host, and source type fields in every event in order to help with identification, filtering, and categorizing the data. These fields are essential for organizing and managing indexed data in Splunk. Question 12. Which of the following Splunk components typically resides on the machines where data originates? A. Indexer. B. Forwarder. C. Search head. D. Deployment server. The indexer stores and processes incoming data. The forwarder, which is a Splunk component installed on machines where data originates, collects data from local sources like the logs or system metrics and forwards them to the indexer for processing and storage. The search head manages user searches and displays results, while the deployment server distributes configurations to multiple Splunk forwarders. So, the component that resides on the machines where the data originates is option B, the forwarder. It is a lightweight Splunk component that resides on the machines where data originates, such as servers, network devices, or endpoints. The forwarder collects the data from these local sources and forwards it to the indexer for processing and indexing. Like we mentioned earlier, there are two types of forwarders in Splunk. There's a universal forwarder, which is the lightweight version, and then there's a heavy forwarder, which can pass and filter data before forwarding. Question 13. What does the table command do in Splunk? A. Filters events based on specific criteria. B. Generates statistics for fields. C. Displays specified fields in a tabular format. D. Sets the search time range. In option A, the table command does not filter events. In option B, generating statistics for field is typically done using commands like the chart, time chart, or stat, but not the table command. The table command in Splunk is used to format the output of search results by displaying the selected fields in a table. So this is useful for organizing and viewing events data in a structured manner. In option D, the table command does not set or modify the search time range. Time range settings are configured separately from the search query, and this is usually done using the time picker or the earliest and latest parameters in the search string. So our answer here is option C. The table command displays specified fields in a table format. Question 14. How are events displayed after a search is executed? A. In chronological order. B. Randomly by default. C. In reverse chronological order. D. Alphabetically according to field name. By default, Splunk does not display events in chronological order, which is the oldest first. Instead, it displays them in the reverse chronological order, so it will display the newest information first before it goes down to the oldest. However, you can sort these events differently using the sort command if desired. In option B, events are not displayed randomly in Splunk. The default display order is a reversed chronological order based on the event timestamps, and this makes our answer option C. Looking at option D, events are not displayed alphabetically based on the field names. They are displayed according to the event timestamp, unless you explicitly use a sort command to change the order. So by default, events are displayed in the reverse chronological order, and that is option C. Question 15. How can you save a search in Splunk for future use? A. Export the search results. B. Save the search as a report. C. Bookmark the search URL. D. Index the search. Exporting the search results will allow you to download the data, however, it does not save the search itself for future use. If you want to rerun the search later, you would need to manually input the query again. In Splunk, you can save a search as a report, and this will allow you to run the search later and view the results whenever needed. This is the most efficient way to save and reuse searches for recurring use. You can also schedule reports to run automatically at specified intervals. Bookmarking the search URL only saves the URL for quick access, but it does not save the search itself within Splunk. If you share the URL with someone, they will be able to run the search again, but the search parameters are not saved as part of the Splunk search framework. Indexing a search is not an option in Splunk. Indexing refers to the process of storing and organizing raw data for faster search and analysis, but it does not apply to the scenario we have here for saving individual search queries. So our answer here is option B. Saving the search as a report will help you to use it for future use. So when you want to search in the future, you don't have to impute the query again. You just use the previously saved report to run a search and you get your answers. This brings us to the end of the question and answer for the Splunk Core Certified User Certification exam. Don't forget to like, comment, and share, and also hit the notification bell or the subscribe button so that you'll be informed when our next informative video will be dropping. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.